This was an idea that was actually generated by our wonderful youth. We had decided to have a youth symposium, and we gathered some juniors from several of our local high schools, and we had about 20 youth, 25 youth who came, and we did spend a day together, and we talked about suicide prevention, we talked about mindfulness, we talked about destigmatizing mental health. And in those conversations, we looked at how we could create wellness ally clubs in their local schools. And these were the youth who were going to start those clubs. And that was in February of 2020. And so something else happened in the end of February in 2020, which was the pandemic. So once that happened, we regrouped and we got the kids. It was, I think, Jess's idea to get them all on via Zoom. And we got them on, and I was telling the kids about how I saw Lester Holt with NBC News was doing this Kids Nation. And I said, would you guys want to do something like that? And they said, yeah, we want to do a podcast. So these wonderful youth, and I can't even tell you how wonderful they are. Well, I could, but it would take the whole time. But they came up with the graphic, the name. They came up with the topics. They are just brilliant. I mean, they're 16 and they talk about things like transformative justice, which I can assure you, I didn't even put those words together when I was 16. They are truly remarkable individuals, and I have encouraged all of them to become our next Supreme Court justices.
We originally started Teenish as a way to have a sense of commentary, not only for the pandemic, but also the youth's role in the pandemic, because at the time, a lot of our voices and a lot of the laws that they were implementing that's supposed to represent us didn't actually represent us. It was trying to control us. And we wanted to change that. And so we originally started this podcast to comment against our school district treatment of the COVID-19 pandemic with our schooling. And that bled into us speaking about our uniforms and how that plays into our sense of personality and identity within public schools. Because I mean, do we even really have one? Let's be honest. Anyway, that led into the racism pandemic, because we were in the height of the George Floyd protests and our role as youth within that, because youth led that and youth continue to change the minds of adults who refuse to acknowledge that there is a racism pandemic in play and still in play within the United States.
Kennedi, Sarah, all of them, they all 18. I'm still the youngest one here. So I'm probably the last one who could really do anything. They could still be in it, of course, but they might have time to do other stuff. Kennedi going to college, so it will probably be kind of harder for them to break in time for us to do more with the podcast. I want to see us have more of a popularity stance, like a radio interview kind of thing, people listen to those all the time. I want to see us grow into a bigger thing and have more of a upholding on the community. And for everybody to be able to see, okay, they're talking about things that's going on in life that most people don't talk about.
One of the great outcomes has been when we were given this opportunity to interview public figures. They were impressed by these kids too. Kennedi herself was actually interviewing one of our former mayors. And after interviewing with her, he was so impressed. He asked her to sit on his task force that was being started by the current mayor in regards to racial injustice in Savannah. So these are people that have a long-lasting influence throughout our community, and they're getting an opportunity to hear these voices that are not being heard and be able to bring forth their opinions and make change because of it. These kids were instrumental in talking to one of the school board members and calling out the fact that the school board was not asking kids what they wanted to do with their own education. They were asking the teachers, they were asking the parents, they were asking community members. They didn't ask the kids. These kids made a noise about it, and the change was made. Kids, check out the Teenish podcast on YouTube and our Facebook page and Instagram, Teenish912. And you can stay up to date with all of their goings on as they are going about and moving on into college, but they're still going to keep their hearts with that 912 Teenish, of course. And also, if you want him to have any kids join, you can go to our YouTube page or our Facebook or our Instagram, and our contact information is on there. And it's really just an email away. We want to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, and we love to have new topics and new ideas.